Welcome out, everyone. All of you great decoders around the world, wherever you may be, male and female. My name is Logan, your tour guide, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be doing part 2 of Leave the World Behind. That's how much content was in this book and movie. And there were things, obviously, that I missed in the first go-around. So let's jump right into this, ladies and gentlemen, and start off with the ending scene for this movie. And here is Rose, the character Rose, sitting in front of the TV watching the last episode of Friends while the world implodes. She's down in the bunker. And the title of the show is The Last One. And clearly the funniness starts to come in. Not in the sense of the world's collapsing and imploding, but the fact that this 42 means completion. And obviously it means the saga is about to end and it's going to restart again, the 42. So all of you should know where this 42 goes. But let's continue to move forward and remind ourselves just how big this 42 is with the world of numerology, the science of numbers, and even the mainstream bringing in Douglas Noel Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that notorious Life, the Universe, Everything, which BBC ended up creating a radio show out of it, a television series. But you can see how big the 42 is. And so when you start to correlate this, is there really a way out of this reality, or do we just continually move back in after death? Well, time will tell, as I always say, right? But the episode that they chose for the ending of this, the last one, it was premiered on May 6th, 2004. And that's the 56. May 6th is the 56. It's very interesting because the episodes is 17 and 18, which of course that's going to give you the number 35. That's going to be tied to simulation. But you can see how the 56 through the bridge of alchemy ends up leaning towards, or linking towards, the Phoenix and the 138, the Pale Horse. Death. Because this was the last show, so it meant death, right? And then when you get into the directors or the writers of this show, you have these two people right here, David Crane and Marta Kaufman. When you start to research their background, you will see that they both have a Jewish background. I'm not going to go into what the details are on that, but when you can start to see that it points to the Torah and then Christianity and Judaism, well, you have more keys to the kingdom. Okay? But you can clearly see the ridiculousness of this code automatically. This guy was born on August 13th. That's the 813, which is a permutation of the 138, which, you know, Brashears from Archaics has really brought to the limelight, back to the world, the Phoenix event, the 138 years he's claiming to be. And there's merit here, obviously, because now it's continually tying into all these events and people, and you can start to see this. And then Marta, the co-writer, born in 1956, which is going to be the protons of the 56th element, which is lights, camera, action. She was born on September 21st, which is the 3 of clubs card. He's got the King of clubs, which is the same card as September 11th, which is the new year for the Egyptian calendar. She's got the 3 of clubs. And the 3 of clubs is the 16th card in the deck, which is the Tower card, etc., etc. But here is the display of the 3 of clubs and how it's tied to the ending point through the New Testament. Revelation 6 verses 8 being tied to the pale horse, the 138. When we say 3 of clubs, we get 53. When we say pale horse, through the original Greek, chloros, ippos is pale horse. And then when we do the numerology of Revelation 6 verses 8, we get the 53. See all the matches of the 53. And Marta, being born on September 21st, going to the cards of illumination. Here's September. Coming down to the 21st. There it is. Row 21. She's got the 3 of clubs. Is this a mere coincidence? Should we just throw this out and say, oh, that's just coincidental? Here. She is the writer of this last show here. The last episode. And this is what they played at the end of this movie. Leave the World Behind. Which obviously is a referencing point of change is coming. Okay? Change is coming. And you need death to bring in the change. The pale horse. So what is this going to look? Of course, the guy that wrote Leave the World Behind, Sam Esmail, was the guy who wrote Mr. Robot, which was all about introducing the digital age of cryptocurrency. So referencing the 138 once again to remind all of you that the Old Testament through the Torah, this is Genesis 19 verses 24. And this is the Sodom and Gomorrah story, raining fire and brimstone. That's going to give you the 94. This is using the original Hebrew language now. Fire and brimstone, 94, tied to plutonium. This is, Pluto, but it's Shiva's element because Pluto is Shiva. Plutonium, the explosion, the death. And then you have the 56 with Genesis 9 verses 24 being tied to the movie and being tied to that 138 Phoenix event. Right? These are all kind of tied together. So, going back to the May 6th date for the last one, the Friends, the last episode that they aired at the very end of Leave the World Behind. Here's the card that's linked to May 6th. It's the One-Eyed King, the King of Diamonds. This, in the cards of illumination, is a card of water. In the tarot, it's going to be tied to money and currency. So the 39 is tied to May 6th, and we convert that into the tarot, and now we get the picture of the money, and we can start to see how the King of Diamonds becomes the King of Pentacles, which is the King of Money. And then you get the bridge of the introduction of cryptocurrency, because this is obviously referencing the very last ending and completion days for fiat currency. Like, the world will never go back to how it once was. Using this as a bridge. Using Leave the World Behind as a bridge. And are we going to see this? Are we going to see cities burning? And maybe. I mean, I wouldn't want to be living in a big city. That's my own personal take, but you're exactly where you're supposed to be for your code, right? But clearly the reference point is pretty in our face right here. And again, being tied to that King of Diamonds, which was the May 6th the May 6th day for the last one, the episode. So this is all referencing death. It's representing the pale horse and death and change coming for all of us to experience. And again, the reminder, the guy who wrote the book, Leave the World Behind, Rumen Alam, his name is 19 and 9, which is the 199, and that's where the 78 is found in the string of the golden ratio, which is what the total numerology is for his book title. Now, does this guy know that? My answer would be abso-freaking-lutely not. Because mankind's being used, they don't have to observe it. It's going to play out through all of us irregardless. Okay. So, again, the King of Diamonds being the 39th card in the deck, being tied to the May 6th date, which is the last episode of Friends, which is what they played at the end of the Leave the World Behind. You can see it's referencing Lucifer as well. It's really interesting because the word computer equals 39. Is this what we're living inside of? Are we being ruled over by a computer? Is it just this big computer ruling over all of our lives? It's really fascinating. It's really, really fascinating. Pale Horse being 39, Lucifer being 39, Computer being 39. 39 is that King of Diamonds. So this is the last episode, King of Diamonds, 39. This references the King of Pentacles, the last card in the tarot, the ending point. And then the 39, the King of Diamonds, is tied to the Pale Horse in Revelation 6, verses 8. This is not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. These are all beautiful synchronicities here. As this King of Diamonds, the one-eyed king, is going to execute what it needs to execute on the world stage. So, we get into the New Testament now in the Greek scriptures, Roman Greek, and this character called Apollyon. And you can see how it becomes, and I just, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I just think it's funny. I'm not going to be laughing when, you know, the shit hits the fan. No, but we got to laugh at this. What else are we going to do? Take it so serious? You can see that change is coming. Apollyon 39, the one-eyed king is 39, the ending show is 39. Apollyon, that has the key to the abyss, comes up from the abyss. The scorpions come up. The whole thing is here. And if you reference the origination of it in the Hebrew, it's going to be Abdon. I'm going to get into that. But Apollyon, and Apollyon means destroyer. Okay? Destroyer. To change the world into what it's going to move into, etc., etc. So here is Apollyon 39 tied to the head, the King of Diamonds drawn up, and it's pretty, and it's the battle axe. It's the battle axe. He has the battle axe. You're talking Ragnarok. The kings are the K. The K is the 11. I'm just reading at the 1111 from. 11 is tied to sodium. Sodium, as you know, through the decode of the 3.144, sodium was the prison. Okay, the King of Diamonds, and then it converts into the 78, and then you have the easy reference point here now, 39 and 78. So it's just really simple to see. So the King of Diamonds being tied to Apollyon, and he's the destroyer, okay, to destroy the world here. All right, so you can see all the referencing points of endings and completions here. So, when we say the King of Diamonds, we get the number 55, which is a match to the words Secret Destroyer. If you've watched my Rat in a Cage Decoded Part 1, you would have saw that. And so we go to Solar Spread number 55, and we look for the King of Diamonds. It's sitting in space number 2. 2 is duality. And one thing that you can do as a decoder is always use the Spirit Spread as a referencing point when you're looking up the cards in the solar spread. So I'm going to reference the boilerplate chart here. This is the master life configuration. This is where your ego card sits. This is ground 0. But then over here is the never change. This never changes. It is the only master spirit configuration. And that you just want to reference where that card sits and match it to the other side, as I've been showing over and over through this amazing system. So, when you notice that the King of Diamonds is sitting in that space number 2, and then you reference the spirit side, you're going to get the 5 of Spades, and this is the storyteller, right? Because then we can see another referencing point of leave the world behind. What are these people doing? They're putting their swords down on the ground, they're walking away. And this may be something that all of us, some of us, have to move through and go through at some point of moving into the future, is that you're going to have to walk away from perhaps something that you have in your life that you're attached to. It could be an idea, it could be a hobby, it could be an activity, it could be a habit, it could be physicalness, it could be the place that you live at, it could be your bank account, it could be your crypto account, it could be anything. But the King of Diamonds is Apollyon. And it's clearly the message here is its job is to destroy. And it is going to, when it does, it's reminding you that you may have to. So this is where you can get mentally prepared to walk away. And this, if you've been watching my Spit You Out, kind of the series this is tied to spitting you out of the game, like walking away. This is card number 55, folks. The Five of Swords. So this is a pretty big humdinger, right? You go to the tarot, and you can see that the Five of Swords is card 55. And the 55 is tied to the 39 because the King of Diamonds sits in that same spot, and the King of Diamonds through the numerology is 55. You see how amazing this system is on its own. It's a very magical oracle-based system. Right? To get the picture, we bring the tarot into that. 5 is your 5 fingers, 5 toes. This has a lot of meaning to what's going on in our reality. Okay, a lot of meaning here. So now we look at the Hebrew reference for Apollyon. We get into Abdon, which is the same meaning. Okay, destruction, doom, whatever. And then we do the numerology of it from the original language, as we have done in the Greek with Apollyon, and we get the number 27. This is using the Hebrew called ordinal. This is Aleph through Tau, 1 through 22. And we get the 27. You know, it's so interesting. I didn't even mention this to anybody, but, you know, I'm in Colombia right now, and Colombia is the CO, and that's Cobalt, and Cobalt is the 27. I'm staying right now in a room number 207. No joke. My last name equals 27. The syncs to my personal life are ridiculous. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, when you say the Five of Wands, you get the 54, which is Zeus. And this is the 27th card in the tarot. And fighting. Fighting. Mental fighting. Physical fighting. But it's preparation of the mind with fighting. Conjuring up fighting and battling. Leave the world behind. Think about what this is showing and what it is tied to so far. Abdon. Apollyon, destruction, fighting, the necessary chaos. This is what is next on the world stage, some big chaotic event. You're going to have mini ones throughout as well. We need to, as human beings, you know, like weave through these. But is Zeus, and it just continually, for me personally, keeps going back to Zeus. Keeps going back to Zeus, keeps going back to Zeus. Ridiculous. My last name, it's so insane for me. And then you can see through the Roman spelling, it's a match to Abdon. So Jupiter, Zeus, gets the nod towards the destroyer, and it just may run everything, whatever that looks like in the canopy, these ideas. So when you do the reduction of Zeus, you get 18. Jesus equals 18. Christ equals 18. Jesus said, bitch, I ain't coming back for peace. I'm coming back with a sword. And this is, you're going to get the 3 of Swords and the whole 9 yards. Okay. And even when you reduce Abdon down into the single digits for Hebrew, we get the 18, of course. It's going to break down. And it's going to be the number 9. The number 9 is going to be tied to 16. Right there. And 16 is the Tower card. Okay. So think about this, you know. This is a 9, this is a 9, this is a 9. The 9 is the 16, and the 16 is the Tower card, which is fire. This is what I feel. This is where the sun starts to do the plasma. It starts to shoot lightning bolts down. It may burn out. We may see some pretty insane things we've never seen before. Right? Fire. Even the word hell is 16. Right? And so we know that the sin is the sine wave, which is through time, but it's the sin wave, and that's the number 9. And these all reduce down to the number 9. So this is telling us that the sin wave is about to be removed or demolished. And the sin wave is where you're going to get the dollar bill sign from. It's going to do that zigzag. That's the sin wave, the sine wave. The sine wave is the number 9. And the number 9 is the number 16. And the 16 in the tarot is the Tower card. So the sin wave, the sine wave, which is where you're going to get the dollar bill symbol from, money and currency is about to change in a massive way through the lens of who's going to be responsible for it. And these ideas, Abdon, Apollyon, Zeus, Jupiter, Christ, all that stuff is here. Okay? And you know, the movie's going to change. You know, this being the last episode on May 6th, it's the lights, camera, action. It's the ending of the movie. These are obviously crystal clear. And the big humdinger, for me anyway, was this barium 138. It's going to be 137, the isotope, but it's going to be 138. But you can start to see how this is all part of the system here. May 6th being the 126th, 127th day of the year, that's going to correlate to the 53rd element called iodine. One half of the IM, this is going to be isotope 127 to incorporate the common and leap year. So if you really look at this, you can see, and they're both in the 50s, right? Jupiter, Zeus, is the energy that rules over the 50s and the 5. Jupiter is said to be the 5th planet from the sun. You got 5 fingers and 5 toes. You have 5 senses. Jupiter's got the all-seeing eye on it. And Jupiter's element is tin, the 50th element, then 51, then 52, then 53, then 54. 55, Secret Destroyer. 56, the movie. This is all referencing Jupiter Zeus. That's all referencing Jupiter Zeus. One half of the I am. And that 53, again, is tied to the pale horse. Okay? It's tied to the pale horse. It's tied to Isaiah 45, verses 7, etc., etc. So what I thought was really interesting is Leave the World Behind, and the release dates, the premieres, had 3 of them. May 12th, November 22nd, December 8th. You add up 12, 22, and 8, you're going to get 42. 42. All right? And then you have the last one playing at the end of the movie. And then we correlate the 42 to the 3 of spades, the 42nd card in the deck. And that's going to correlate into the 3 of swords, which is the 53rd card in the deck. And we just go right back here, 53. See how amazing this all synchronizes? All these things just synchronize, and now we have a massive amount of death, right? I mean, the pale horse, as I've been saying, is what's been, or is a big part of what's been going on for the past 3 years. Still going on. The C-19, pale horse. And then this guy right here who wrote, directed Leave the World Behind and Mr. Robot, Sam. And, you know, I showed this in my live Let's Talk About Shiva. But I wanted to point out, this is a pretty big deal here. His name is Sam. Sam. And Sam is tied to this element called samarium. It's got the Sam right in it. Now, why I'm showing this is because when you take I am, the 53rd element, which is Jupiter's element, and the 95th element, 53 and 95 is 148, which is the isotope for the 62nd element. Okay? Tied right to it. So this guy, and the connecting point blew my mind. Of course, his birthday is September 17th. And when you look up Leviticus, talking about throwing their gold and silver into the streets, so interesting. But then, when you look at the periodic table through the lens of this graphic that I created probably 5 years ago now, and when you look at row number 6 and then row number 8, you look at this like a bingo chart. The element that sits in space 6 and 8, which is tied to the pale horse, Revelation 6 verses 8, is samarium, which is tied to this guy's name. And he's all about the transition into the digital world. Of course, he and Mr. Robot, they want to burn it down. Right? They want to try to burn it down, but of course, that didn't happen. But nonetheless, you can see the connections to this. And this guy writes Mr. Robot and Leave the World Behind, or directed it, excuse me. And it's all about the story, life. You know, you being the star of the show, etc., etc. Okay? So, to finish this decode here, we go back to the ending scene of where Rose is in the bunker underground and the world's imploding, and she pulls out the episode of Friends on a DVD here. Notice that, you know, this is subtle because a lot of words can equal the same thing, even, you know, when you start to cross-reference different languages, because this is subtle, because Friends in Chaldean is 28. Well, this is the word death, right? And so, like, how would you correlate this there? Well, these are subtle layers, okay? But clearly the 28 being tied to Thanatos, which is the Greek word for death, and why they chose this episode and this whole scene here. And then the song, even the song that's played as the standard introduction for Friends, I'll Be There For You, that's the 66. And, you know, when you go on this journey of looking at these cards, we start with the tarot and we come down to the 66 card, and it's the Two of Pentacles. I'll be there for you, right? And then you go to the cards of illumination, and the 28th card, which means death, which is tied to death, is the Two of Diamonds. The Two of Diamonds is the Two of Pentacles. So the 66 is tied to the 28, straight up. And the word Friends is 28, and Leave the World Behind is 60. I mean, I'll Be There For You is 66. And we're talking about the ending and completions of this show. Ran 10 seasons. And why this was chosen for the end of the movie. I mean, how very fitting. But you want to see the the humdinger of them all, folks, with this decode being the last one in the 42. Okay, this is it. So this is the actress, Rose. That was her name in the movie. She's the one to end this whole thing. 42. Why? Well, when you look at Farrah Mackenzie, who also starred in the show Utopia, her birthday, being on October 29th, is the 6 of Hearts, which is card number 6, as in the third eye, as in carbon, right here. But the humdinger of them all, folks, to end this part 2 of Leave the World Behind, is the 6 of Hearts converts into the 6 of Cups, which is card number 40 freaking 2. And so she's sitting there to end this movie, watching the episode, the last one, which is tied to I'll Be There For You 66, which is tied to the 28 and death. It's so insane, these synchronicities. So insane. How do you get this exactly the way it is? To get this, I mean, this actress. Choosing this actress. And I, you know, could have did her name, and I'll leave that to all you great decoders. I know you're going to jump into this and start to decode this. But to get this exactly the way this is, and this is, you know, this is the 666 now. So the endings and completions is the 666, which is mankind. What is this indicating? A lot of death. Now, is it mankind death? Is it people death? Well, it quite possibly could be. But also the death of something that we use called physical money. Right? The fiat currency. Now, is this the way we're going? Is this what does the Phoenix Rising mean? What does it mean? Well, it's all the energy of the worlds and all the things that are going to die with it that rise up, and something's getting that currency. And it ain't mankind getting it. It ain't humankind getting it. It's not man or woman getting it. Something far beyond the physical aspects of our world. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Leave the World Behind, part 2. Appreciate each and every one of you for showing up here, being a member of Patreon. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Sending you tons of love. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.